Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to go ahead and begin designing and constructing our slot car. Here in front of us, you can see the model of the slot car we're going to build. The first part we're going to make is the chassis base plate, which is the light blue component on the drawing you can see up here. Our slot car consists of quite a few parts, and we're going to learn how to make most of these. Today we're focusing on the chassis base plate, which is this light blue part that my mouse is covering right now. We'll also get into making wheels, ribs, the axles. We'll do an assembly, and depending on how time allows, we'll try to make the gears and motors. The drawing for the chassis base plate is right here, and you can see all the dimensions. Now, while it looks like quite a lot of stuff here, it's actually quite simple once you get the hang of it. So we have the outline of the vehicle, or the part. This is a flat part. It's just a consistent thickness throughout. We're going to be cutting this out of a sheet of cardboard. It's a tenth of an inch thick, so you can see note thickness 0.1 inches shown up here at the top. This is a full-scale sketch of what the product will look like here in the front, or a full-scale drawing of the part here, showing it in its outline. And then you can see a 3/4 scale image of what the final product would look like in 3D view. So looking about these dimensions, we've got the outline of the car, and we've got each measurement. And what we're doing is we're measuring what's called datum, D-A-T-U-M, datum, style dimensioning. What that means, we're going to measure from the same point all the time. So we're always measuring from our datum point. Our datum point is right about where my mouse is right now, and that's 0 point. So we're going to be measuring up from here for all of our vertical measurements. You can see we're measuring up, 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 going from the smallest to the biggest, the smallest to the biggest. This line that goes across here is aligned with that data point. And then you can see our horizontal measurements are also coming from that data point. So if I were to project from this point straight up, you can see my first measurement, smallest measurement, then it gets bigger, 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 and so on. Each one of those points that we're talking about is every time there is a different point in the sketch. So I come from here, go up, well, here's a corner point, and that aligns with all of these, so they all get the same measurement, 0.450. Then the next corner or point is 0.950. You can see it comes across, and then 1.350 is to this point, which lines up with that one. 1.850, this point lines up with that one, and 2.30, which lines up with that, which is the overall height of the object. Looking at the width, measuring from left to right, you can see smallest measurement 750, 0.750 coming from here across, and we're working our way up. And of course, you can see that we have measurements on the right side. Why didn't we put these all together on the same side? Well, if I put them all on the same side, then these lines that are currently crossing just a little bit of the sketch will go across everything. So again, here's all the components, and you'll be able to download this drawing and have it yourself as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the part. So this is the part we're going to make. You can see it's flat when viewed from the side, and you can see we drew it on the top work plane. So it's on the top plane. Go ahead into our blank part studio and get this created. We're going to create a sketch on the top work plane. Tap the N key to view normal to it, and then tap the P key to show the planes off. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line from the origin. Click and release, and go sideways about 7 inches, 6 or 7 inches. Make sure we see the horizontal constraint apply when we do this. Click and release, and then I'm going to escape the line. This line, I'm going to make a construction line. I'm going to click on the line, and then go up to the toolbar and choose construction, or I can right click and choose construction. And at the escape tool, get myself out of those tools. let's get back. I accidentally turned that off before I clicked an empty space. So there you go. So here I have my line. And what the heck is this line? Well, if we take a look at our drawing, you'll see that our model is symmetric. Here's the center point, and I have the same things left and right. So we're going to be looking at a symmetric part. I'm going to draw just the upper half. So I'm going to draw an imaginary line here in my mind across this. And I'm going to draw just the upper half. So that means I'm going to have a line that goes up, over, over, down, over, up. And then we'll deal with this in a second. So let's go ahead and get that started. So let's go. Click and release on there, up, over, make sure that lines up. Make sure I see my horizontal constraint. And up, over, up and over, over. And now things get a little tricky. Let's go back over here for a second. Going across. Now, if you take a look here, you see there's a curve. And that curve has a radius. That's a fillet. And there's the center point of the fillet. So right there's your center point. It's radius 0.50. We've got a straight section, a fillet, and a straight section coming to the center. Well, when we go to draw that, we're not going to be able to draw the fillet at the same time. So we're just going to come over here and make sure that I don't have anything else selected. So no yellow. So I don't want to click now. If I click now, that's going to cause a problem. If I click now, that's going to cause a problem. So I want to find somewhere in between horizontally constrained and constrained to that point. So we're going to go over here, about that will work, no yellow points, and then we're going to go ahead to the end. This is going to produce a shape that doesn't really look like our car just yet. We'll go ahead and round it off a little more by adding a sketch fillet. And according to our instructions, that was 0.5. So 0.5 inches radius. And escape. And there's the center point. I'll take that out of here and pull that out. So we're still not at the shape that we're looking for. And you can see that all the lines are blue except for my construction line. So we need to apply some rules to this. Let's see. These lines move together. That's good. That line is vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical and perpendicular, horizontal and coincident. Got vertical and coincident, coincident tangent. That makes sense. So this is looking pretty good. All right. So once we have this, let's go ahead and make a copy of it. So the copy we're looking for is a mirror copy. So right up top, you see the mirror tool. And I click the construction line to be the mirror line. Follow the instructions that select entities to be mirrored. Just grab everything. And there you have it. Now this is not done yet. We need to go ahead and add measurements. So make sure you refer to the drawing. You pause the video, put this in a different window screen snippet, pull up a printed copy. You can print a copy out if you want. But whatever you do, this is going to be your model right there. These are measurements. So commit those measurements to memory. So I'm going to take my dimension tool and we're going to measure, just like I said, we're going to go left to right, top to bottom, left to right. So first we'll line up with that guy. Measure from here to here. And what our measurements are. So we're at 450, 950, 1350. 4.50, 0.450. 950 was the next one. So from the base point to the next point. And then from the base point to the opposite point. And you can see we're getting things closing in. Let's get the next measurement. Okay, Now, what you can see here is that this measurement, this number 1.85, matches the measurement on my drawing. And you can see that the arrow, the dimension line, is turned out gray. So I want to make sure that if I go ahead and type that in, 1.85, the enter key, you'll see everything turns red. I'm going to right click on it, choose change to driven dimension. This dimension was already defined because since this is symmetrical, and we've defined this height, which is symmetrical to this one, and defined this height, which is symmetrical to this. Now we define this height, which defines that width. This measurement can't change. So I'm going to find the same issue when I come to the overall. You see it's already 2.3 inches. It's already grayed out. So just hit the enter key and wrap that up. Looks pretty good there. Let's go to the other side, finish out our bottom to top measurements. So there's the lowermost point, which is lined up with this one. I'm going to go to our wheel wells, which actually can't change. Those are going to be driven. We'll go to our center marks for our fillet. It's supposed to be 0.55. We haven't added our circles yet, so we'll get to that in a little bit. You'll see that's also grayed out, so just accept that. Oops. We'll need to leave a little room for a circle. Measure from bottom to top. This guy is also the same as the other side. So I'm going to need two of those. We'll just delete that. And the overall is 2.3. So those are all the measurements we have so far till we have the circles. So let's might as well add those circles. So we've got 3 circles here. One is on the center line at 1.150. The other two are vertically aligned or horizontally aligned with the top one. They vertically aligned. So they match each other. So let's draw 3 circles. Hit the center point circle tool, zoom in. They are to the right of the center points for the fillets. So I got one here. I'll line that one up by hovering over the center point. There. And then, oops, escape. Hover over the center point, come on down, click and release. And we want all the circles to have the same dimension. So I'm going to come up and choose my equal tool, which would be most likely under a drop-down menu for you, or tap the letter E. And then click and release on a pair at a time. Click and release, and give it a dimension of 0.1. So that takes care of most of that stuff. Oh, we need some heights. Going back, we don't have any height measurements for those circles. Let's add those. So 0.850 and 1450. From the bottom up, center point, and bottom to center point, 1450. 1.450. Right. Take your time when you're putting your measurements on this to make sure that they stay neat. It's really difficult to read dimensions when they're crooked and sloppy. So take your time, make sure you get them nice and neat. You'll be grateful that you did. All right, we're going to continue putting dimensions left to right. So for the opening, for the wheel well, first measurement 0.750. Next one is 1 inch for the slot. So 0.750 and 1 inch for the slot. The gear opening, and then measure over for the beginning of the wheel well. Here's the wheel well, find the mark, 4.550. And we got the next measurement from this point back to the beginning. That's 5.850. You see we're going from the beginning of the front end of the wheel, well, back to the beginning. So 5.550. Double check 5.850, not 550. The enter key. And our next horizontal measurement, here's the next line we run into. Come on down, that's the center point for our fillet. And that's 6.350. So center point of the fillet, back all the way to the beginning. And 350 thousandths, 6, 0. And 6, next one we run into is right here, not very much further. So 1/10 further, 6.450. So center point, end point. All right. You can see that I want to be inside, so I'm going to drag that up. Make sure we have these things lined up neatly. And what's the last? 6.450. And the last one is 6.950 for the overall length. So the overall length. Oops, dimension tool. Overall length. Back to the beginning. 6.950. Now, a couple of things you can look at here to help you know whether or not you finish things up right. One, obvious, do your measurements match my measurements that I'm showing here? Do they match the drawing? If that's correct, you're probably doing pretty good. Two, do you see that your area of the model is shaded blue-gray? If it's shaded in, you're doing good. And of course, did all of your lines turn black? Blue is an incomplete line. It is not fully constrained, and black is a fully constrained line that can't change. So if all of your lines have turned black and the shaded area and all the space in the middle has shaded blue to a solid color, you're doing awesome. You got this right. That's going to be a chassis base plate. Hit the green check on that. Go back to our front top right view. You can see that. We're going to go ahead and extrude that. So we created our sketch. Now we're going to extrude. Click the area we're going to extrude. We're going to tell it we're going to go 0.1 inches. Accept that. That's creating a new part for us. So it's a new solid. If it pops over to surface, go back to solid. And of course, if it won't let you go back to solid, it means that you didn't close the loop over here. And here we're going to extrude up, and we're in good shape. We'll rename that chassis base plate. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you turn a sketch like this into a model like this. All right, hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully I answered any questions you may have on the topic. Do the best you can, and as always, keep being awesome.